the massive screens also. That's amazing. Not yet, right?
Yeah, here we go. That's good. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're here at the Nashville International Airport to make some exciting announcements, but I do want to thank Steve and his team and everybody for what they do to secure our country and the work that they do with the Transportation Security Administration to make sure that everyone who travels on our airlines and in our airways fly with peace and with knowing that they can do so securely. We are focused on making sure that we are putting in and implementing new measures that will streamline hospitality for families that travel, for military members that travel, and some new policies that we're implementing as well. Last month here at this airport, the Nashville International Airport, in honor of America's 250th birthday, implemented a new lane through our security checkpoints that's called the Honor Lane. And what that Honor Lane does is that it implements a new policy that we're going to be putting across the country at all TSA security check lanes that honors our military men and women. We recently announced that this program called Serve with Honor and Travel with Ease will be utilized at airports starting with those that are closest to our military installations, that will allow uniformed officers, uniformed military members to have their own lane that they can go through for expedited processing and ease of travel. Right now we have dedicated lanes and front-of-line privileges at 11 different airports, including here at Nashville. Second, as a tribute to those who have lost loved ones in the line of duty, we are also honoring Gold Star families, and we're doing that by giving them pre-check enrollment free of charge. We want everybody to know that we are extremely grateful for their service to our country and recognize the sacrifice that their families have made. One of the things I consistently feel is our responsibility to keep reminding people, and especially as we're recruiting new military members and people to serve in positions, is that we will convince them to come forward and to continue to serve as long as we show them that we are willing to respect the service of our veterans, respect those families who've lost loved ones. And one of the ways that TSA can do that is by honoring these Gold Star families and by giving them their pre-check enrollment free of charge. The third thing that we are implementing that impacts our military personnel is that we're going to offer each of them a $25 pre-check enrollment discount for military spouses. So if military spouses want to go through the pre-check process, they will get a discount on the cost of that when they sign up. And to make it even easier, one of the things that we are pre-deploying is mobile units. For some of the individuals who go out there and help enroll people into TSA pre-enrollment, we're going to send them out to bases and military installations across the country so that they don't have to travel to an airport, they don't have to travel far from home in order to sign up and to get the benefits that come with a pre-check process. These tokens of gratitude are just a small amount of what we can do in this country to honor those who serve in our military, but also them and their families, and recognize their sacrifice. Those benefits are already in effect today, so I'd encourage all of our military members, all of those Gold Star families, to take advantage of them as soon as possible. For more information that individuals may want to have on our program called Serve with Honor, Travel with Ease, just go to tsa.gov and you'll get all the information that you need. The Trump administration is working very hard to make sure that we're not only maintaining and implementing and enhancing all of our security protocols, but that we're also making travel more enjoyable, that our time in our airports and security checkpoints can be filled with hospitality and serving people and get them through in a timely manner and much more efficient as well. Just last week, we made a big announcement that I think a lot of folks were really excited about, was that we put on pause the taking off of your shoes at our security checkpoints. Ending the shoes off policy will decrease our passenger wait times through our security checkpoints, and it'll make sure that it is a more pleasant and efficient process for everybody. Finally, as someone who is a mother and a grandmother, I recognize that traveling with little kiddos at times can be difficult or at least cumbersome and time consuming. So one of the policies that we are changing and implementing as well is that we want to announce that for all families, we'll be implementing a program that is called Families on the Fly. This means that when families come into our airports and enter our TSA security checkpoints, they will have dedicated lanes specific for families. There'll be expanded areas that will give them the benefit of recognizing that they have children with them, and will help make sure that we have the ability to take care of them and their families as they go through this expedited process with their kiddos. And we also recognize that these family lanes are ones that will be specifically implemented first around large areas where people travel with their kids quite often. We started, I believe, with a pilot project at the Orlando airport because of Disney World being so close. We're excited to continue to offer these benefits through TSA to help individuals make sure that they are having the security when they travel through our airlines and through our airways, but that also we're making it much more of a pleasant experience for them as well. This will include, we're also going to make sure that we're giving families a 15% or $15 discount when they enroll in TSA PreCheck as well. We're going to be reducing also some of the invasive pat-downs that individuals have seen with children. And so we'll be focusing on making sure that activity is as limited as it possibly can be, recognizing that when people are traveling with their children, many times that has been invasive in their privacy. TSA has been working with many national family organizations and with other families and groups that to help organize these implementation of policy changes. And we're going to continue to do that to make sure we're looking at our screening processes, keeping our standards high, but making it one of the busiest summers and falls that we've seen in our country's history. We're also recognizing that we've got even more travelers that are hitting the airways in the future, with not just the World Cup coming next year, which will bring us 22 million international visitors that will come into this country. We also have the Olympics coming up. We'll be celebrating America's 250th birthday as well next year. So streamlining these processes is incredibly important for us to make sure that we can accommodate the increased traffic that we've seen and continue to do even better into the future. One of the things that I would note for all of you is that we have seen our 7 busiest travel days in history just since the beginning of this calendar year. So more and more people are traveling by air, and we're determined to make sure that we're keeping our technology investments, our training for our TSOs and our TSA employees to the highest level so that people can streamline their processes going forward. We're making sure that every policy that we have is a common sense policy that serves people and keeps us safe. With that, I just want to say thank you for being here, and also God bless all of our military members and the folks who live in this country, and may they all be safe as they go out and they do their work and continue to defend our country. With that, I'll open it up to any questions that you may have. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I haven't read the Dignity Act yet, although I have talked to the Congresswoman about it. I know that she's looking forward to having some debate on this in Congress with the House and the Senate. You know, what I do and what ICE does every single day is go out and enforce the law. What we do and what President Trump has directed us to do is to make sure that we're upholding federal law and that we are making sure that it applies equally to everybody. No longer will the law apply to some people and not to others. Illegal criminals in this country are not going to get priority over American citizens. So I'm incredibly proud of our ICE officers that they're out there every day making sure that we're getting murderers, rapists, pedophiles off of our streets and getting them out of our country. We'll continue to look at what Congress brings forward. Remember that if people don't like the law, they can change it. They just need to have Congress do that. What we do is that we implement and we uphold the law. Yes. Yes. I don't have any more details that I can share with you. I do want to introduce a couple of people that I have behind me. I have with me Hob McNeil and Adam Stahl, who are the leadership team at TSA. And they are the ones that have been deep involved in these security procedures that we undertake every day and checkpoints and making sure that they're effective. And then also looking at some of the policies we have today as to how we can add technology to streamline some of the processes and maybe remove some of the requirements that we do have today. So as we implement new technologies at checkpoints, that may be one of those procedures that we can evaluate and not require for passengers anymore. And remember, every single thing that happens at a checkpoint today is being evaluated, and we're very excited to partner with a lot of private companies to bring us the technology we need to streamline this experience. Yes, sir. We have a layered security process right now that we did not have, I would say, 5 to 7 years ago, and the technology and scanners of either luggage or individuals and the exit lanes as well streamlines it, makes it go a lot faster. Every time you have more and more agents out here that are required to do more hands-on, it slows things down for those passengers. So we are currently talking to many different companies about what they can do to streamline their processes as far as combining the screening process so that individuals can walk into a checkpoint and not have to take off their shoes. The next ones that we will be evaluating is what it requires for the liquids, for removing electronics, all of those. My goal would be that someday someone could walk into an airport, walk through a scanner, and go right to their airplane. That's the goal, and that's the challenge I put in front of TSA and these companies, and I'm hopeful that we'll continue to be able to make good announcements like this. Yeah. I've noticed that too. Yes, we're streamlining our training and our management as well. And one thing I'll remind some folks is we've got some airports in this country that also have private companies that do the screening, TSA contracts with them. But we do think it needs to be consistent. And we are working to do that and to make sure that every passenger, when they walk in, that they know exactly what's expected of them so that it can go faster and be much more streamlined so it's more efficient. Sure. Well, one of the things that we're excited about is with the bill that just passed that had resources in it, President Trump's big, beautiful bill, had resources for TSA that will have the ability to invest in that technology. So we have hundreds and hundreds of airports across the country. So it's a big investment, but I'm also looking for a private-public partnership in a way that will be really accountable to taxpayers and take our dollars even farther to make sure we get the best technology, but also negotiating that contract for the constant upgrades that are necessary when you implement that kind of opportunity and machines like you see in front of us. When we go to the next level, it's going to be something that we'll need to continuously stay on top of so that we can stay on top of the threats that are out there as well. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, what I would say to them is to go home. They still have the opportunity to self-deport, to go back to their country. Right now, we're buying plane tickets for people to go back to their home countries. And also when they land, we give them $1,000. And then they get the opportunity to come back the right way. That is still the very best option for everybody who's in this country illegally. And that would be my hope is what they would do. I've actually gone to, I think it's 10 different countries already and talked to those countries about supporting their citizens when they come back home. Many countries in Latin America have instituted already programs that when individuals come back home, they will give them loans for houses. They will give them training for jobs. They will give their children scholarships for an education. So these countries such as Guatemala, Honduras, Colombia, we're going to Ecuador here soon, Argentina, Chile, Mexico. I've traveled to many of these countries and visited with them, and many of them want to welcome their citizens home and are partnering with the United States so that when people do go home, they have an opportunity there as well. But if they want to come back to the United States, that we will help facilitate that in a timely manner too. We're streamlining our visa programs. We're streamlining our workforce programs, so it'll be much quicker and responsive. So that will be better. One of the things that I would say is if you wait until we deport you, then you will never get the chance to come back to America. So my hope is that many people will do it the right way. The people who are being removed right now today are people that have crimes against them that they've either been convicted of, or they have charges against them, or they have final removal orders. So that is the focus and the priority of the Trump administration. If somebody else has been interviewed and has been talked to and has been detained by ICE for that process and that due process, it could be because of who they're affiliated with or the business that they were affiliated with. Yes. How I want to what? Oh, yeah, as it exists. Yeah. I think people have this idea of what FEMA is, and it needs to change how it exists today. FEMA is supposed to be an agency at the federal level that looks at disaster response through a different lens than what it has in previous years, especially under the Biden administration. All emergencies and disasters should be executed by local officials, people in those local cities and counties. It should be then managed by the state. The state manages that disaster response and makes the best decisions for the people that live there. The federal government should come in and support, which means what do you need, what can we get you, how can we help? And especially when you look at a situation like Texas, when it's so widespread and there's such a devastating loss of life and families who are suffering, it has to be immediate. That has not been FEMA's story in the past. And so that is what we are changing, is FEMA being responsive, immediate declarations that launch help. We saw our Coast Guard was on the ground. And that's the other thing is, the box of responding to these states and the needs that they have doesn't just come through FEMA. The Coast Guard was there within hours. Border Patrol was there with their BORTAC teams responding and helping people get rescued from the swift waters. FEMA was there within hours. We've had over 700 different people from FEMA deployed to that area. So what needs to happen is that we should not have FEMA officials making all the decisions for how to run that emergency. That state and those local officials should. We come in and support them. What you saw happen in Texas was much more how FEMA will look in the future. It won't look like the response to Katrina or the response to even Helene and what happened in North Carolina, where people waited weeks and weeks and months for help or for people to show up, or help was promised and it never came. You look at claims from Katrina, some of them still haven't been paid today. That's what President Trump wants to fix, and that's how he wants to take care of people. We have had a partnership that President Trump implemented on immigration enforcement that has been a whole of government approach, which means we have many, many different agencies that are partnering with us. So Border Patrol is one of those. The marshals have been helping us, the ATF, the DEA. We've had different states, their highway patrol, their law enforcement officials have helped us, many sheriffs. We have agreements called 287G agreements that we've signed. I think we have over 800 of those across the country. So using all these different agencies, local, state, and federal, helps us to be much more cooperative. And we're very thankful for Greg's leadership. He's been a fantastic leader in making sure that we're going after those worst of the worst criminals that we see across this country. I'll take one more question. I wish one of you today would have asked about some of the families that actually lost somebody because of an illegal criminal. Would have asked a question about some of these families who are victims of crime that's been perpetuated across our streets. Because it's very rare I get asked a question anymore at press conferences about what the consequences have been of our open border. President Trump has removed over 600 known and suspected terrorists from this country since he's been in office. Thousands and thousands of known gang members, TDA members, MS-13 members. So if they're going to a third country, if we're deporting them to a third country, it's because their country doesn't want them and won't take them. That means that many of these individuals are murderers, that they're rapists, they're individuals their own country doesn't want them back, and so we're removing them to a third country. We've got some. I think everybody's being treated humanely. Absolutely. Once they are out of the United States, it is not our responsibility to make sure that we have jurisdiction over them. But we have cooperative agreements with many different countries to be third safe countries for us, and they're meeting the requirements of that and following the law. One final question? Yes. He said it was a mistake to dox them? Oh, well, that's good. I hope so, but he really did put their lives at risk.
And there's activists across the country, Los Angeles, for example, are obviously clearly intentionally doxing activists, trying to get harm's way. Is the Department of Homeland Security looking at referring some of these individuals to prosecution with the DOJ?
Yes, absolutely. We will detain these individuals if the law allows, and it's up to the Department of Justice if they decide to prosecute. So it depends on what actually the crime is that was committed. But doxing very much exposes them and their family to dangerous situations. We've had many of our ICE officers, CBP officers that have been victimized. Their families have been threatened and attacked. And so any elected official, anybody who does this on purpose and causes harm or brings harm to them and their families, the Department of Justice, they will be referred to them, and the Department of Justice has indicated that they will prosecute those where it's appropriate. All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for being here today, and I want to thanks to all of these TSA officers behind me. Every single person is getting due process, sir, as required by the law. I don't know that to be true. Every single person that's detained by ICE is having an opportunity to have the due process that afforded them by the law. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful day.
That was great. Thank you so much. Really? Great. Oh my gosh. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to do it because I don't.
Come on in. It looks great. We can get a picture of you guys like patting him down. Come in here.
Yeah.
Brian, come in here by me.
This guy will be
We could all squish in?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, and 1, 2, 3. I'll take one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.